So let's start your practice question 1. Now first one, if you look into it, what are they saying? Arnab manufactures electronic home appliances. It follows weighted average method of inventory valuation. Now, how do we do a weighted average? I told you weighted average is basically done. If I taken, now see here, I have a purchase order, then I have opening stock, I have goods received at different orders, and there is a material requisition. Now the first question is, does purchase order have any significance in the inventory valuation, or is it when the goods are received? Guys, I have unmuted so you guys can answer the question. Purchase orders become useless, but the values become important for me because whenever I've received the value, I know at what purchase value have I done it. So the format is what? Receipts, issues, and the closing stock. Right? So I have an opening stock of how much? I have an opening stock of 3,500 at 9810. So 3,500 at 9810. How much does it come? Guys, I want you all to show what your answers are. Just keep telling the values along with it. 3,500 and 9810. What's the total value? Suresh, what's the total value? See here, I have my opening balance, then I have purchased 10,000 units at 9930. So my total amount comes to 9300. And when I'm issuing, what did I say with regards to the issue? I will add up now. What are they saying with the issues? Let's look into the date. Material requisition note against the purchase order 008500. Here they're clearly saying that the materials are requested only against this one. So that means, right? So guys, whenever they give you in the question that the goods are issued against the purchase order 008, what is going to be the issue price of 500? What is going to be the issue price of 500? The issue price of 500 is going to be at 9930. So see here in my solution, my issue price of 500 is going to be at 9930. This is what it is. And what did I say about the closing value? Closing value is going to be whatever is your closing stock, add up the units purchased, subtract whatever has been issued, you will get the net units. This amount will calculate towards the end. This one is again what? Your closing stock value plus the purchases minus the issues. When you do it, you will get the rate. Guys, does anyone have a doubt with the rate column? Right? Now, when I'm issuing next, now this material which has been requested is going to be provided at what? Weighted average price. Yes or no? This weighted average price is going to be what? My last value's closing stock. Yes or no? So my 11 will be issued at 9898 and my closing stock will again be found out by what? My closing stock value minus the issues done. Yes or no? So everyone, let's just look into it. I have a opening stock receipts which is 34335. My issues was nothing and my closing stock would also be 3500 9810 34335. Next, when I'm purchasing 10,000 would be at 9930, receipts would be 10,000 at 9930, that will be 993000. So if I'm doing everything in thousands, I'll ignore the last three zeros. Then I'm issuing my 500 at 9930. So what's going to be the value? Guys, please tell the value so it becomes easier rather than trying to calculate every single time. 500 into 9910 divided by, because I'm writing it in thousands, so it becomes 49. Now the closing stock, I told you how do we find this? This is important. 3500 plus 10,000 minus 500, so the closing stock becomes 13,000. I told you in the weighted average, this is the one I'll be finding it last. So this I'm going to find out by what? Doing 34335 minus 99300, sorry, plus 99300 minus 4965 128,670. So how do I find cost per unit? 128,670 divided by 13,000. How much does it come to? 9897. Because it's in thousands, I'm rounding it off. 9898. Done. My next issue, whatever is there, my next issue is only on 61, which is 3000. So I'll be issuing my 3000 units at 9898. How much does it come to? 29,693. So my closing stock will be 13,000 minus 3,000, that is going to be 10,000. 128670 minus 29263 or 4. How much does it come to? 98980. Okay, 7, 7. Now next one, does this purchase order have any significance? No, only when you receive it, you will have a significance. Next one, you are requesting 4,500. At what price will you give 4,500? At what price will you be giving this 4,500? 9898, because that's my previous issue. So 4,000 also will be issued at 9898. So find out the value. So your closing stock will be 10,000 minus 6,000. Then this one I can blindly write because I know the last value is going to remain the same. And this. Guys, anyone has any doubt in the calculation of the weighted average? Anyone has any doubt in the weighted average one? Okay, so the first part, let's just look into it. Now the second one, how do you calculate a reorder level? What is the formula for reorder level? We know the reorder level formula is basically maximum usage into maximum lead time, correct? Now in the question, let me try understanding is there an information about maximum usage and the maximum reorder period. Now can I see the material requisition and find out where has been a maximum usage? Material requisition 500, material requisition 4,500. So my maximum consumption is what? 4,500. And I have explained you the formula or the concept. What is reorder period? Reorder period is the period from the time you place the order and the time you receive. Right? So let me just try finding what's the maximum time period taken. See, I placed order on 15, that is on 8th. I am receiving goods on 5th January. How much time has it taken? 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? 21 days. Here, how much have they taken? From 9th, when did you receive the 9th one? Here. You have taken 12, 13 days. Then again you have placed an order here. You are receiving it on this day. That is 17 to 25th, 18 day. So what is your maximum reorder period? Is 21 days. Are you all clear? Guys, in this question, if you look into it, nothing has been given direct. Everything has been given as a part of the question and trying to understand the concept. Logically, if you know what it is, you can find out. Is everyone clear? So my maximum reorder level, maximum usage into maximum lead time. Are you clear? Now let's come to the next concept what we had learned under materials, which is called as EOQ. What is EOQ? EOQ is also ROQ. That is, every time you place an order, how many units should you place an order so that your carrying cost and ordering cost is minimum, right? Now in this question, the clue is, see, every time you have placed a purchase order, how many units have you placed a purchase order for? Every time you have placed an order, how many units have you placed an order for? 10. This time also 10. Here also 10. Here also 10. That means my reorder quantity is been always 10,000. Please don't use the formula, EOQ formula here, because they've already calculated and given it to you guys. Understood? So see here, the formula. Now the same way I'm going to calculate my reorder level. Reorder quantity is given in the question. Minimum usage and minimum lead time. So everything done. 8,000, 83,500. Are you clear? Next one. What is average consumption? Maximum plus minimum divided by 2. My maximum consumption here I have found out 4,500. Minimum consumption is 1,500 divided by 2. So my average consumption comes to 17 days. My maximum lead time is 21. Minimum lead time is 14. So average comes to 17.5. So that's how I found out the minimum stock level. Done? Now last one, they're asking what is the value of the components used. Value of the components used will be just the sum total of this, whatever has been issued during the month. Priyadeep, what do we mean by material requisition? Material requisition is the production department asking for the materials from the stores department. So if you see in the question, are you talking of this or this, Priyadeep?
Sir, both. I mean, it's the same only, right? On 15th date.
Priyadeep, if you can. Priyadeep, this is the material requisition number. This is the number of units required. And this is the number of units I'm issuing it to the production from the stores, right? And that is what I calculated here. How many units were issued at what price? Priyadeep, you still have a doubt? Okay, done. How many of you guys got this question right? This is actually under a tougher question, but still now, okay. Why have we taken, Samina is asking this question, why didn't I consider the fifth one? Right? Samina, see here, what does it say? It clearly says that out of your materials received 10,000, 500 was returned back to the stores or returned back to the supplier. That's why it's not taken, Samina. See here. Okay, guys, this one is actually the question. What I did first is on a little tougher side as a student. I hope you guys understood how to do it now. Anyone has a doubt, please let me know, because this is only for solving questions. And these are the kind of questions you're going to get in exam. And until and unless you're not conceptually clear, you will not be able to do it in the exam. So anything you want me to repeat, don't feel shy about what others are going to think, because you are writing your exam for yourself. And until everyone responds, I'm not going to be going forward. So please, everyone respond. What you want me to explain, Suresh? You want me to re-explain the entire question once? Okay. Guys, see here. Generally, I'll see the way I would interpret the question. Now in the exam, how do I deal with this? Let's say this has come in the exam. This is the first time you are seeing this question. Suresh, I was asking the first question, Suresh. Guys, anyone has doubt in the first question? Suresh, please don't jump it. It gets confusing. Okay, let's go to the second question then. Now, what are they saying? HBL Limited produces M, which has a quarterly demand of 2000 units. Each unit requires 3 kgs of material X and Y. So you have a demand of 20,000 units, which requires two more raw materials, material X, material Y. Each unit requires 3 and 4. Material is supplied by the local supplier and can be procured at. So they are saying X can be purchased anytime because it's available locally, and Y is not locally available, it has to be purchased. So this has to be purchased only in the capacity of 10 tons. How much is 1 ton? Thousand kgs, right? Now they've given me what is the purchase price excluding GST, rate of GST, then freight charges per trip irrespective of the quantity. Loss of material is 2%, loss in the process 5%, loss in the process 5%. 1 ton is 100 or 1000 kgs? Now let's try looking into it. In a quarter, the demand is 20,000 units. That means annually, what's the demand? Annual demand is 80,000 units. To produce 1 unit, you require 3 units of X. That means how much X do you require? Can I say 80,000 into 4? And Y required will be, sorry, 80,000 into 3 and 80,000 into 4. Yes or no? Are you guys clear? So the first thing here, my demand is 24,320. Done. Now they are saying the lost in transit is basically 2%, and here it is 5%, 4 and 5%. So I reduce 4% and 5%. Now one of a thing that you guys have to understand is, now see here, first thing, I took 2% of this as lost in transit, right? Then how much am I left with? 32,000, because that is what I'm getting in the hand. One of the mistakes students do is they take 5% of 32. That is wrong. 3,20,000. Are you guys clear? Fareen, I didn't understand what is that 441. So guys, see here. Now what happens? I have 32,000, out of which 2% is lost in transit. Sorry, 3,20,000, that is 6,881 is lost in transit. So I'm left with how much? 3,20,000 minus 6,881. So I'm left with 313,119. Out of this 313,119, 5% gets lost in the process.
So 2% is 6,400, sir.
You'll end up getting the effective purchase quantity. Are you clear? Guys, everyone see here. Everyone just see here one sec. Pratham, no. Guys, everyone see here one sec. To produce 1 unit, how much of Y do you require? Hey, sorry, my calculator's not there. One sec. Nishita, phone charger cable kodlikata. Nanda lirbek noda. Okay, guys, to produce 1 unit of Y, how much raw material do you require? Okay, guys, here, just understand the question. To produce 1 unit, you require 4 units of Y, correct? To produce 80,000 units, how many units of Y do you require? 3,20,000. Does anyone have any doubt in this? Because this is the mistake I have also done during my student days. That's why I'm trying to do it along with you, so that you don't do the mistake what I have done. Now 3,20,000 is what we require. Now what we all will do is we take that loss in transit as 2% of 3,20,000. Yes or no? Everyone, do we do this? How much of 2% of 3,20,000 will be? 6,400. Now friends, see here, if you have 3,20,000, 624 will go in transit. You are left with what? What are you left with? Correct? Now, if you have 313,600 and each unit is going to take 4, can you produce 80,000 units? Can you produce 80,000 units is the question. No? Now, in exam, this is what every student does. What I have done. Now, but we have to do the reverse calculation of it. Now, how does this reverse calculation work? See here. See, if I have purchased 100 units, everyone please understand this. Correct, Pritham. See here. If I have purchased 100 units, what happens? 2% will go in the transit loss. How much does that come up to? That is 2. So I'm left with what? 98 units. On this 98 units, 5% will be process loss. How much is 5% of 98? 98 into 5%, sorry, 98 into 5%. How much is it? 4.9 units. So finally you are left with what? 98 minus 4.9, 93.1 unit. Yes or no? Logically. Guys, this part did you understand? Everyone, did you understand this part? Now, friends, please remember this. This 93.1 units is 3,20,000. What mistake we all do is we all take this 100 units as 3,20,000. That is not what is required. My net is going to be 3,20,000. Are you clear? Are you guys clear with this? Now do the cross multiplication. Find out how much is 4.9 then. So do 3,20,000 into 4.9 divided by 93.1. How much does it come to? 32,000. Sorry, 3,20,000 into 4.9 divided by 93.1. Guys, sorry, I missed out one working note. Sorry. They are saying that, see here, sorry guys. They are saying that the loss in the process is on the purchased quantity. Is on the purchased quantity, guys, sorry. So this is not going to be 4.9. This will be 5 and this is going to be 93. Guys, sorry, my mistake, because they have told in the question that it is on the purchased quantity. So my loss will not be 5% of 98, it will be 5% of 100. So that will be 3,20,000 into 5 divided by 93. 3,20,000 into 5 divided by 93. So that comes to 17,204. Right? And this one again, see here, 2 into 3,20,000 divided by 93. 2 into 3,20,000 divided by 93, which comes to 6,882. Are you clear? Farin, in the question, if they would have not given me this point in the question, I would have taken 5% of 98. I missed out that one, Farin. Sorry, my mistake. Because they have clearly said it is 5% on the purchase quantity. See here, a star. Or else generally it would have been 5% of 98.
That one I understood, but the thing is, when we are dividing for 2%, why 93 and why not 98?
Are you guys clear? But for else, for the material X, the drama is lesser. Why? There is only one loss, that is 4% of the loss. That means if you are purchasing 100, 4% will be the loss.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. This one person was asking the doubt.
Sir, tell me.
Not me, sir. Some other.
Yeah. Guys, whoever has it, has a doubt, please ask. Farin, you have a doubt? You have raised your hand.
Yes, sir.
Farin.
Sir, I'm audible.
Yeah, ma'am. We can hear you.
So my question is, when we are taking for 2%, right? Why do we divide by 93 and why not 98?
No, ma. So see here, one option is I can either add up and then do the division. It will get the same answer.
Oh, okay.
Because my base is 93, right? It's on the purchased unit.
Okay, sir.
So I'm just trying to keep that as a base, that's all.
Okay, so got it.
Raksha, is there any way to solve that part? The answer is no. There is no other way of solving it. It is pure based on your quantitative aptitude of your CA foundation syllabus. Anyone else has any doubt? Priyadeep? So like for X, I told you the answer is simple. 100 minus 4, 96 percentage or 96 units represents my 240,000. Therefore, I have to find 4. So do the cross multiplication. 240,000 into 4 divided by 96. So your loss in process comes to 10,000 kgs. Are you clear? Done? Now let's come to the next part of it. Now, in terms of the cost, okay, the GST, write a note that GST credit will be available. You have to write a note because this note carries 1 mark. GST credit is available, therefore not considered. Therefore, not considered. So my purchase material cost will be exclusive of taxes. Are you clear? So I am purchasing here 2,50,000 kgs and 3,44,000 kgs. Add this much, and I will not be taking the tax into consideration. Done? Now, let us come to the freight charges. The freight is how much? 28,000 per trip. And you are purchasing always in the capacity of 10 tons. If you see the material Y, I require 344,085. And every time I am going to be ordering 10,000 units, because 1 ton is equal to 1,000, 10 tons is equal to what? 10,000 units. So how many times should I place an order? I should be placing an order for 34.40, that is 35 trucks. Are you clear? Are you guys clear with this? Because you do not have a part truck facility, you have to place an order for the entire truck. So whether you are calling for lesser or higher, you have to call for the end. And every time the truck comes, what is the charge is going to be charging you? 28,000. So it's going to become 35 trucks into 28,000. Are you clear? Right? Then add up the total cost, divide by the net quantity. Because guys, remember this, why am I dividing it with 240,000 and 320,000? I told you the cost per kg will be total purchase minus normal loss divided by total purchase, right? Minus normal loss is going to give me my good units. So my cost per kg will be purchase price divided by good units. And my purchase price is 3 crore 50 lakh and 22 crore 11 lakh 94,400. And good units is 2 lakh 40 and 3 lakh 20, because that is the net I am going to be receiving. Are you clear? Are you guys clear with this? Don't do a mistake of dividing it with 2,50,000 and 3,44,000. Guys, my cost of raw material will always be calculated by total purchase price divided by total quantity purchased minus normal loss. So if you see, my total quantity purchased is this much, correct? These two are my normal losses. So I'm getting a net good units of this much. Please remember, it is only the normal loss it has to be considered. If they say the process loss was abnormal in nature, please do not consider it. Then I would have just subtracted 344 minus 17,204. Are you clear? Guys, are you clear with this? So the first question is done. If you do this, 8 marks. Next, to find EOQ, what all do I require? I require ordering cost. I require the carrying cost, correct? And the annual consumption. Now see here, I know my annual requirement. I know my cost per unit. I know my carrying cost per unit. Correct? Now for the material X, right? Material X, when are we ordering? I said it is available on demand. Therefore, you do not have to carry anything. You can order as and when required. Therefore, it will always be 0. Should I repeat this again? For material X, there won't be any EOQ. Why? Read the question here carefully. The question says that the material X is supplied by a local supplier and can be procured at factory any point of time. There is no need for inventory. That means you're not going to store any inventory and you don't have to incur any cost of ordering also. That means, will there be an EOQ? The answer is no, because your carrying cost is 0. If the denominator is 0, you know you cannot calculate EOQ, because EOQ formula is what? 2AO by C. And if there is no inventory, there is no carrying cost. Are you clear? Guys, are you clear with this? Right? Now for the material Y, see here, my annual ordering cost is 28,000 per order. Carrying cost is going to be 15% of the inventory cost. So that comes to 103. I know my A. So just apply the formula 2AO by C. Are you guys clear with this? This also, as a student, I consider this question to be under the difficult category. If anyone solved this question, brilliant. You guys can pat yourself. I never could have solved it in the class. If somebody has got it earlier, superb. If you guys have not got it, don't worry. Even I did not get it during my study time, so it's okay. So we are all on the same boat, so there's nothing to feel bad on. Is everyone done? Should I explain anything? Okay, done. Guys, this question, did you have any doubt? Guys, did anyone have a doubt in this question? Because it's pretty straight question. Anyone wants me to solve this, please say yes. Anyone wants me to solve, please say yes, or else I'll be just running through the question and be done with this. Now, everyone said you have got it, so we'll just run through the question once for the guys who are feeling shy to just ask. Ananya Limited produces EXE, a raw material D. To produce 1 unit, 2 kg is required. As per the company will require 10,000 units. The following is the information given. ROQ is 200 kgs less than EOQ. So first thing, can I find EOQ? First question, can I find EOQ? Let's come back later. The demand is 10,000 units. Your opening stock is 900 units. Therefore, I have to only produce what? 9,100 units. At each unit requires 2 kgs. Therefore, I require only 18,200 kgs of raw material. Yes or no? That is my annual consumption. But already you are having an opening stock of 1000 kgs. Therefore, the material required will be only 17,200. Right? Now the next part of it is the company is going to incur 720 on paper. This is my ordering cost. Purchase prices, sorry, carrying cost is 13.76 of 125. So that gives me 1200. Correct? EOQ. Anyone has any doubt in EOQ? Guys, I am doing only the tougher questions so that the easier ones become, you can solve it later by yourself. Please let me know if you have understood this. Done? Now, once you know this, what is going to be my ROQ? They have told ROQ is going to be 200 kgs lesser than EOQ. So my EOQ is 1200, ROQ will become 1000 kgs. Done? Now, the maximum consumption is 20 kg more than the average consumption. So I have to find out the average consumption. Maximum reorder period is 8 days. Minimum is 4 days. Then what else have they given in the question? Nothing. So let me find first my reorder level. Right? What is reorder level? Maximum consumption into maximum reorder level. Correct? Now I have to find average consumption. Now, how do I find average consumption? Farin, in this question, if you see carefully, they have defined ROQ to be 200 kg lesser than EOQ. The company wants the ROQ to be 200 kgs lesser than EOQ. Done? Now, how do I find my average consumption? See, I know that my annual consumption of raw material is 18,200 kgs. And in a year, we have 364 days. Right? So if I take this into consideration, my average consumption will become 50 units per day. Therefore, my maximum consumption will become 70 units. Are you clear? Guys, are you all clear? So you can find out this. This also is easy. Maximum stock level, you have everything in the formula, so you can calculate this. Minimum stock level is also based on the formula. Now, guys, remember this part. What is see now, this is something which keeps coming very often and very, very important for your CA intermediate exams. Now, how do we calculate this? See, they are telling me what is going to be the impact on profitability by ordering not in the EOQ. Farin, you asked me this question. In this question, my ROQ and EOQ, right? My ROQ is 1000 kgs, EOQ is 1200 kgs. With this as a base, I have to find the total cost. Correct? Now see here, my annual consumption is going to remain the same. Correct? Whether I'm ordering at EOQ or not, my annual consumption will continue to be 17,200 kgs, where I will be paying still 125. The cost for me is going to change in two cases. One is the ordering cost, other one is the carrying cost. Now let me try looking into the ordering cost. Your annual consumption is 17,200. ROQ, you're going to be placing order for 1000 units. That means you'll be placing 17.2 orders, and you cannot place 17.2, you will be placing 18 orders. Correct? When you're doing under EOQ, you're placing an order for 1200 units. You'll be placing an order for what? 1200 units. With that as a base, you'll be placing 14.4. That is 15 orders. Is everyone clear till now? Right? Now, what is your cost per order? My cost per order is basically 720. So this is going to be my ordering cost under both the cases. Now let me come to the average inventory. Now under ROQ, my opening inventory is 0, closing inventory is 0, opening inventory is 1000. Therefore, average inventory will become 500. Whereas under EOQ, my average inventory will become 0, 1200. So 0 plus 1200 by 2, 600. And my inventory cost, we have already calculated, it is 17.2 here. So I'll be multiplying with the inventory cost. So when you do it here, you're getting a total cost of 21,560. Under EOQ, you are getting 21,120. So the extra cost you're incurring will be 440. This is again a 12-mark question in the exam. Done? Done? Guys, this question any doubt? This is a straight question. Guys, any doubt in this question? Guys, again, the most important part is this part of the question. And if you see your CA examination paper, this question is very, very frequent. Now, what is he saying? See, instead of ordering at EOQ, can you order 30,000 units quarterly, and he's ready to give you a discount of 5%. So you have to do what's here. I calculated my EOQ, right? My EOQ comes to 1656 parts. Now, they are trying to tell if the supplier is trying to supply 30,000 units, right? My annual requirement is 96,000. 96,000, my purchase price will be given a discount of 5%, which comes to 332. So I'm going to purchase 96,000 units at 332. If you are going to, right, place an order for 96,000 units at 30,000 units per time, you know your ordering cost is 1,000 per order. That comes to 3,200. Now you might ask a question, should I take it as 3,200 or should I take it as 4,000 because the order size comes to 3.2? In the exam, both are accepted. In the exam, both are accepted. You just have to write an assumption. See here. They are saying order size can also be an absolute figure. So you can always consider either 3.2 or 4 depending on your comfort. And your inventory cost is going to be what? Half of 30,000 into 20% into 332.50. So this is going to be your cost when you're ordering 30,000 units. And when you're ordering 1656 units, your ordering cost is 337,15930. Now my question is, should you be placing an order for 30 or 1656? You should be placing an order for 30,000 because the cost is lower. Is everyone clear? Guys, again I'm repeating. For calculating the total cost, you have to consider 3 costs into picture. One is the purchase price plus ordering cost plus the carrying cost. For 30,000 units, my purchase price is 30,000. Sorry, what's the total number of units required? Sorry, 96,000 units at 332.5. Ordering cost will be 96,000 divided by 30,000. You will have to place 3.2 orders at 1,000 per order. Carrying cost always will be half of ROQ. Remember this. Carrying cost will be half of ROQ into the carrying cost. And the carrying cost here, they have told is 20% of your average inventory, right? And 20% of 332.5 into 20%. So here carrying cost will become 20% of 332.50. Which is 66.5 into 15,000. The same thing we'll be doing it for the EOQ also. So for the EOQ, the purchase price will become 350 into 96,000. Ordering cost will be, if you see, I'm placing an order for 96,000 divided by 1656, 1,000 units, and half of your ROQ into 20% of 350. Guys, next question. Guys, next question. Does anyone have a doubt? How did you calculate this? Determine when should the next order be placed, assuming the company does maintain a safety level and it's present. So they are trying to ask you to calculate your Guys, see here. Guys, see here. Calculate the number of orders required per year is fine. Calculate the total ordering cost and storage cost is also fine. Determine when the next order should be placed, assuming that the company does maintain a safety stock level is 10,333 packs. Okay. Now the company is trying to see, you are having 360 days. You have to place 185 orders. That means you will be placing order every 1.94 days. Correct? Right? Now, the number of units you are having in inventory is 10,933. You have an EOQ of this much, that is 3893. Multiply with a 1.94 days. That means your safety stock level will be good enough to cover your 5 days ka requirement. So every day if you are consuming 3893 units and it's gonna be sufficient for 1.94 days per order, that is 3893 days, this will be sufficient for a 5-day requirement, right? Now they are saying, see, every 5 days worth of inventory I have, and the average time required for the inventory to come is 5 days. So if, see, you have inventory worth 5 days, 10,333 sufficient for 5 days. If you place the order today, it's gonna come after 5 days. Should you place the order now or place after 5 days? You should be placing the order now. That's why it says 0 days. Are you clear? Guys, any other question you have a doubt on? All of the questions we have covered it earlier. Is there any other question you guys want me to solve? So material chapter, everyone will score 8 to 12 marks because your paper is going to be around 8 or 12. And we have covered every kind of question which is required for you guys in the exam. Guys, material, is there any doubt you have? Can we go into the next thing, which is labor? I think labor. Priyanka, which is the 7th question? Just tell the name, right? Priyanka, I don't have the question number, so you'll have to. Guys, Samina, that is part of FM. That's why they have said not to consider it right now. Because the capital gets blocked and there is a capital working opportunity cost, which is going to be part of your ordering cost, which has been ignored because it becomes part of FM, which we'll be learning in the final. Yeah, Priyanka, is this the question? Okay. Guys, does anyone have doubt with EOQ? Because see here, my annual consumption is 1 lakh units. Right? And 2.5 units are obtained from 1 kg of raw material. That means you will be requiring a 40,000 kgs. Your ordering cost, carrying cost given. Done. Now, what are they trying to say is, see, instead of you placing an order for 2000 kgs every time, instead of placing an order for 2000 kgs every time, what he's saying is, place this 40,000 units on a quarterly basis. That means, how many orders will you place? If you are placing in a quarter, you have to place order 4 times, right? And every time you will be placing an order for 10,000 units. Right? Now, what are they asking in the question is, now, what they are saying is, boss, see, if I am placing an order, right? If I am placing an order under the EOQ, right? My total cost will always be minimum. My total cost will always be minimum. Now, what are they saying? This guy is telling you, boss, place an order for 10,000 kgs. If I'm placing an order for 10,000 kgs, what will happen is my total cost will go up. Now, what I want him to do is, whatever is that additional cost I'm incurring, I am okay to order for 10,000 kgs, but I want you to give me discount so that I end up getting the same cost as earlier. So like the earlier way itself, you'll first do the total cost, right? Keeping the purchase cost as it is, you will find the total ordering cost and the carrying cost. So when you do it for 10,000 kgs, you are getting 249,600. When you're doing it for EOQ, that is 2000 kgs, you are getting it as 96,000 kgs. Is everyone clear till now? Is everyone clear till now? Right? Now, see, at EOQ you are spending 96, but whereas if you order it quarterly, you are spending 249,600. Therefore, you are incurring an additional cost of 1,53,600. Correct? $1,53,600. Now, see, I am going to be purchasing 40,000 kgs from you at a rate of 180 per kg. I'm going to be purchasing what? 40,000 kgs from you at a rate of 180 per kg, which comes to 72 lakhs. Okay. I want you to give me 153,600 discount out of 72 lakh. So if you give me a 2.5% discount, I am ready to order from you a 10,000 kgs instead of 2,000 kgs. Are you clear? Guys, done with all the material question? Guys, I hope the way I'm doing is fine, giving you guys questions to solve it back home so that you understand and then come back with doubts. If anyone is finding difficult, please share it, because I've tried this a lot of time. Better results are delivered because students are applying what they're learning on. And if you guys have any doubt or other things, please let me know so that We don't later say that no, I failed because of you. I'm trying to do it so that you are learning along with me. And even if we know first 10 chapters properly, right, you can easily score 60 plus. And I'm trying to make sure that you guys all get your exemptions on your paper. Raksha, that's why I'm sharing you the PPT. The PPT itself is a very condensed version. Your revising PPT should not take you more than 15 minutes per chapter. If you're studying only through the notes I'm giving, and because I'm covering everything what is required, I don't think so you would have any issues with it. Okay, guys, let's start the labor chapter. Guys, the first question, labor turnover rate. There are separation method. Now, what is the separation method? Separation method basically is the number of people. Sorry, I think the answer, half of it is missing in this. Yeah, the replacement method is the most easiest one, right? If you look into it, the replacement method, how do we do the replacement method? Number of workers replaced divided by the average. Now, in the question, 40% workers left and 120 were discharged. What does discharged mean? Guys, what does discharged mean? Discharge means fired. 350 workers were recruited. 150 workers were recruited because of the exits. What does this mean? 150 were recruited because of the exits mean. They are replaced. Correct? So now this is pretty straightforward formula. First one, separation method, is number of people left and discharged divided by average inventory. Right? Lokesh, if you can switch off the camera, that would be great. The second one, replacement method. Third one is new recruitment, is number of total recruits. They are trying to find how many new recruits were there. So out of the total recruits of 350, you're going to remove the old recruits, that is replacements. So you'll get the number of recruits, and the flux method is basically, we know, number of separations and number of people who joined divided by the average inventory. This is a 4-mark question. So everyone clear with this? Any doubt in this question? Okay. Now, if you see this question, this is basically a formula based question, again a 4-mark question. ADV Private Limited manufactures which requires a skill possession. The company is experiencing a high labor cost due to speed of work, wants to labor cost without compromising on the quality, but is different to Halsey and Rowan scheme of plans. For the month, the company budgeted for 24,960 hours of work. The workers are paid at 80 per hour. Now, how do you go about doing this? Suresh, how do you go about doing this?
Sir, the time allotted is 24,960. And they have asked for the time taken is given in percentage. So we have to apply the percentage on to 24,960.
Okay.
Then we have to apply the formula also.
Okay. So if you see, guys, see here, first, if I take it under the different plans. So I have ILC and Rowan plan. What does ILC plan say? What does ILC plan say? Time taken into hourly rate plus 50% of time saved into rate, right? Yes or no? Now they want you to consider your time taken as different percentages: 100%, 75, 50 and 25. So you try taking the percentages, automatically the difference between time allowed minus time taken becomes my time saved. You have to apply the Halsey formula as well as the Rowan's formula. What does Rowan's formula say? What is Rowan's formula? Time taken into hourly rate plus time saved divided by time allowed into time taken into hourly rate. Guys, does anyone have any doubt in this question? This is again a 4-mark question in the exam. 4 to 8 marks. Okay. Now, once you are done with your calculation, see your part, how is it going? Now, let's try looking into the interpretation. Now, if the time saving is 100%, no time saved, there is no difference in the cost. If it is 75%, I would go with Halsey plan because this is working out cheaper. At again 50%, there is no difference in the cost. Whereas at again 25% of the time taken, Rowan plan works out cheaper in terms of an hour. Yes or no? Now let's come to the next question. Now see this. What have they told in the question? A company is undecided what kind of wage scheme should be introduced in respect of 3 workers. So there is worker number 1, 2 and 3. They don't know how to go about giving him a wage system. Right? Now they are giving them an hourly rate of 40. Now, and also you know the number of units. And now, what is the standard time allowed for a particular A, B and C? Now, right? Now, first one, see here, guarantee hourly rate. Now, guarantee hourly rate is simple. Basically, whatever is the number of hours, multiply with it. Then if it is piece work, then also it is easy. Why? Because, see here, for the purpose of piece rate, they are considering 1 rupee per minute. That means for product A, it should be 15, 20 and 30. Right? Now, let me come to the last part of premium bonus, wherever the received is based on the Rowan scheme. Now, what does Rowan scheme say? Rowan scheme says time saved divided by time allowed into time taken into wage rate. Okay. Now, let's go with this. If you're going to take 15 minutes is the standard time. Okay. 15 minutes is the standard time for A, B and C. For B it is 20, and for C it is 30. Now let's look into the employee 1. See, employee 1 is producing 210 units at 15, 3150 minutes, 360 units at 20, 7200 minutes, and C 416. So totally is taking 24,150 minutes, and if I divide by 60, the standard time taken should have been 402.50. Second worker is only doing 320 units, 7,500. Third worker is taking 9,027, 36,000 minutes. That comes to 600 hours. Now this becomes my time, standard time allowed, right? And the time taken will be given in the question. So time allowed minus time saved will give you, time taken will give you time saved. After that, you have to just apply the Rowan's formula. Are you clear? The only trick in this question is, see, they would have given you the standard time per unit, multiply by the actual units, and that is going to give me the standard time allowed. Are you clear? Are you guys clear till now? This straight based out of the formula, this is the only thing which is new in this question. Or the first two parts of the question is straight. Guys, next one. Did anyone solve this question? Farim solved. Anyone else? Amoda, yes. Samina, I was not able to understand. Okay. Suresh, Raksha, Siddharth, Suvita, Tenzin. Solved or not solved? Okay. See the question. A job can be executed either by workman A or B. A takes 32 hours. B finishes off in 30 hours. So there is one job. A is ready to do it in 32. B will take 30 hours. The standard time given, that is time allowed, is 40 hours. So write down whatever is given. The hourly wage is the same, whereas A is entitled for a Halsey scheme, whereas B is entitled for a Rowan scheme. The overheads are absorbed at a 7.50 per hour. The factory cost of the job comes to 2,600 irrespective of the work. Interpret the hourly wage rate and the cost of raw materials input on it. Now, see, I don't know how many hours are these guys taking, right? On a daily basis. Now, if I try writing the formula under the Halsey scheme, what does Halsey scheme say? Time taken, can I say the time taken is 32 and the wage, I don't know how much wage you are paying, is 6, right? Plus 50% of time saved. How much is Mr. A saving? He is doing the work in 32 hours. That means he is saving 8 hours of time multiplied by X. So that is 32X plus 4X. So A is getting 36X. Right? Now if I look into B, B is paying on a little different. Why? Because this guy is following the Rowan scheme. What is Rowan scheme scale? Time taken into hourly rate plus time saved by time allowed into time taken into hourly rate. Now, what is the time taken? 30 hours. We don't know the hourly rate X. Time saved is 10 hours divided by time allowed 40 hours into time taken 30 into X. So if I do it 0, 7.5, that comes to 37.5x. Are you clear till now? Done. Now they are saying the overheads are absorbed at 7.50 per hour. The factory cost of the job comes to 2,600 irrespective of the workman engaged. So whichever guy is coming, they are saying the total factory cost. What is total factory cost? What is total factory cost? Do I know the material cost plus the labor cost plus the overheads? Okay, this becomes my factory cost. Do I know the material cost? Do I know the material cost? No, so I'll write it as Y. Do I know the labor cost? See here, for Mr. A, labor cost is 36x, correct? Overheads cost is basically 7.50 per labor hour. 7.50 into 32. How much does it come to? $240, right? So my labor cost is 36x and overheads is 240 and the factory cost comes to 2,600. Whereas for B, material cost is Y, labor cost is 37.5x, overheads is equal to 30 into 7.5, which is 225. Now, how do I get 30 into 7.5? Because Mr. B is taking 30 hours at 7.5, that comes to 225. Are you clear? Are you guys clear? Now I try equating both the equations because both are having 2,600, 2,600. Therefore, what I do, I'll write this equation like this. See here. $36x plus y plus 240 is equal to 2,600 is equal to 37.5x plus y plus 225. So 2,600 is common, gets cancelled. So y gets cancelled. So if I move this here, 15 is equal to 1.5x. Therefore, x is equal to 10. So if I substitute x in one of these equations, see here, 360 plus y plus 240 is equal to 2,600. Therefore, y is equal to 2,000. Did you all understand this? Guys, whenever they give you something in the question, right, first write down whatever has been given, try interpreting it. And okay, Guys, this question we'll be doing after marginal costing chapter. We'll look into it later. Please somebody remind me, this question we'll be doing after marginal costing, not right now because it's a combination of 2-3 chapters. Even the previous question is from a job costing chapter. So this question I'm skipping it now. Guys, this question I've explained it, so same. Right, this is like that worker 1, 2, 3 question. So there were 2 workers, here they have given, so same question, the numbers are different. So please try it. If you have any doubt, let me know. The only change is this part. This one also pretty straightforward question. If you look into it, the incentive system of Alpha Limited. Guys, anyone has doubt in this question? Guys, anyone has doubt in this question? Have you tried solving it? If you have doubt, please put it as me so that it becomes easier. Right, so let's try understanding this question. Now, there is an existing incentive system of Alpha. What are they doing? They're paying 5 days of 8 hours each plus 3 late shifts of 3 hours each. So you are going to be paid what? 5 into 8 plus 3 into 3. For day shift, you are paying 160 per hour. For late night shift, you are paying 225. Are you clear? This one, are you clear? Now, they are saying the average output for 49 hours is 240 articles. How did you get 49 hours? 840, 3 into 3 is 9. That is total 49 hours. Are you clear? Now, what they are trying to say is, in order to increase the output and eliminate the overtime, they want to shift to a system of payment by results. So they are saying basic time allowed for 15 articles is 2.5 hours and time rate is going to be 160 hours in usual. That means right, so your time rate is 160 per hour, you are giving 2.5. that means for 15 articles you will be getting 160, 400 rupees for 15 articles is going to be your price rate. Piece work rate, add 20% to the basic piece rate. So and also a bonus of 40% time. If the last week 270 articles were produced in a 40-hour week, premium bonus, add 50% to the time rate. So let's look into it. Now, what is the existing time rate? Existing time rate is standard. Does anyone have doubt in the existing time rate? Done. Now, they are saying 270 articles were produced, right? So for 15 articles, if it takes 2.5 hours, for 270 articles, how much time should it take? We have to do the cross multiplication. So when I do the cross multiplication, I'm getting 45 hours. Are you clear? Right? And you're paying them what? 160 for the hourly rate. So that comes to 7,200. Plus they are saying you have to give a 20% bonus, 20% bonus of this. So that comes to 8640. Are you clear with the piece rate? Done? Now, let's come to the Rowan system. What is Rowan system say? Time allowed minus, time taken into hourly rate plus 50% of time saved into hourly rate, correct? Now, what is the time taken? Now, see here. They are saying for the premium bonus plans. When they say premium bonus, they are talking of premium bonus plans. And these premium bonus plans are Rowan plan and Halsey plan. They are saying for the premier bonus plan, add 50% of to the time. See, they have taken 45 hours. Add 50% to it. What is 50% of 45? 22.5. So your standard time allowed becomes 67.5 hours. Are you clear? Guys, for Halsey and Rowan plan, are you guys clear? Sorry, Suresh, yeah, formula. Yeah. Guys, are you clear? Right? Now, see, what is the Halsey plan formula say? Time taken into rate per hour into half of time saved into rate per hour. Time taken is 40 hours, rate per hour is 60, half of time saved, right? Time saved will become what? 67.5 minus 40, that is 27.5 into 60. So you get 8,600. Under Rowan, same thing, you apply the formula. Time taken into rate per hour, time taken into rate per hour, time saved divided by total time, you get 9077. Now see, what are they trying to tell? They are trying to find the total cost. For 49 hours under existing time rate, your piece rate comes to 35.1. Straight, your incurring cost of 8640.32. This is 33. Halsey is 31.8. So which system would be better for the company? Is to go with Halsey because per hour rate is going to come lower. Guys, this question we covered already. Guys, so done with the labor chapter. Is everyone clear with this? Labor chapter. Right? Guys, please go back and recap it again. All the videos, I'll share it immediately so that you guys can look into it. If you have any doubt, please make sure you understand. Now, the first 3 chapters, if you know it properly, you can score 20 marks. So, 80 marks is left. And the way I go about my preparation is I take one chapter at a time, solve as many questions as possible so that my confidence level keeps going up. Now, what lot of students do is they take a chapter, they'll solve half a bit, they'll study, then they don't do more questions. Then they will go in the exam hall. Suddenly, if the paper comes into the question, what you have solved, it becomes easy or difficult. Rather, I do chapter-based approach. What is chapter-based approach? I take only one chapter at a time. Do every question, do mistakes, recap it, do mistakes, get it clarified from the teacher. So that once I know material chapter is over, one day before exam, if I flip the pages, seeing the question, I should know how to approach it. If you get the approach right, trust me, costing is easy to score 80 plus. And if you score 80 plus in costing, automatically your pressure on other chapter subjects will go lesser. And costing is the most scoring paper, costing and accounting. Please don't waste your time on it. So that's why I'm trying to push you guys to do it more. Tomorrow, before you come in, you have to watch the overheads video, which I've shared it already in the group. If you do not have the link again, please let me know. I'll share it again. So you need to watch the overheads video. It's a 1 hour video. You have to watch it and come so that the overheads chapter becomes easier. Are you guys clear? Done? So we'll see you guys tomorrow then. Overheads chapter, please watch the video and please make sure you complete this chapter. If there are any doubts, please post it in the group. I will be very happy to help you guys out. So please make sure that you study. And if you require any of the questions to be solved separately, please let me know. I'll share the videos of it. Thank you so much. See you guys tomorrow. Thank you.